What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another edition of the Dynasty Trade Show. No guest today, unfortunately. Y'all probably ready for it. Every time we get a guest on, we go for like 2 hours. So we'll be a little faster.
Yeah. No, it won't be. We'll get some nice deals talked about, man, but it won't be the marathon that we do when we get a guest on, you know?
No, man. We save the marathons for the guests, man. We like to take up as much of their time as humanly possible. But thank you for tapping in. If you're not already subscribed, what the hell are you doing, man? We're trying to get to 1,000. We got giveaways. We got signed jerseys to give away. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment below what you think of these deals. I always love the discussion. Man, Adam, you ready to do this, man? You ready to do some Dynasty deals?
Always ready for the Dynasty Trade Show, buddy. It's always fun. We got 10 deals to grade today. Like Mike said, though, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're at over 700 now, trying to get to 1,000. We got giveaways coming then. If you find this valuable, keep tapping in here on Saturday morning premieres. But without further ado, Mike, let's get into the deals. And you know what we do. We start off with one of our own. And let's talk about it, man. I'll tell you what this is, buddy. This is the Royal Rumble. And I hate the fact that they look just so crazy on the whatever the hell that is, MFL. I don't even like to say it out loud. But I just did a little picture so you could actually see it and don't feel like, what am I looking at? So here you go. I'll let you take it away.
I'm not even going to read the words because it's just disgusting. it's horrible.
Yep.
So you got Javonte and Rondale.
Yep. For
McBride and Tony and a second.
Yep. And it's your second, buddy. You're even in this. You're even a little part of this deal. That's your 23 second.
Look at me go, man. Javonte and Rondale. All right. So you're in a rebuild in this league.
Yep. Full rebuild. It's a for those who don't know what the Royal Rumble is, it's a 28 team. It's essentially, 14 team 2-copy league. So pretty deep league. But I'm in a full rebuild. I have most of my picks, I think, and I've been tearing it down pretty much from the beginning.
I think one of the things that people will look at, I mean, we've talked about this before with Javonte Williams. What he costs now is not what he's going to cost come hype season. And you got 28, 27 other people to trade with, right? Like you have 27 other people that could possibly buy into any kind of bump that he's going to get. So it's very, very likely that you can move him at some point. Rondale, I like what I've seen from him as of late. I don't know, man. Like I think kind of him and Tony just kind of cancel out for me. Like
that's kind of how I was looking at it. Like there's a part of me that wants to lean Tony because he's in the offense with Mahomes and he's got upside, but it's also, I feel like it's more risky at the same time too. So I think you're right. They're kind of in the same ballpark, I think. Like
we've seen Rondale produce, so I guess you give him the edge there, but then you kind of want to see how he looks when Hopkins is there and Hollywood's back, and what his role is actually going to be. Tony is more this allure of Patrick Mahomes and what we saw Tony do last year with the Giants and a shitty team with Daniel Jones.
Yep.
McBride, I mean, we saw a couple things. I mean, that game wasn't very pretty on Monday night anyways for the Arizona Cardinals. But we saw him do a couple things. We know tight ends take a while to develop, being that it's a 14-team 2-copy league essentially. 28 teams. Tight ends are hard to come by sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Like I found that out the hard way in this league.
That was the one piece, though, Mike, that like I like getting Javonte. What I don't like, though, is typically on rebuilds consolidating. I mean, albeit it's your second, which I'm counting as more of a mid, probably more like a late pick.
Yeah.
I don't like to consolidate on rebuilds, but in losing McBride, I think especially when Ertz went down, it was a little tougher for me, but I'm willing to basically bank on the value ascension of Javonte. I think in this league, there's a lot of tapped-in people, so it'll be interesting to see who buys into him in the offseason and who doesn't because of the injury and what we know about it. But I'm basically banking on the Javonte ascension, whether I hold him or trade him. That's kind of what this deal's centered around for me. Like I said, we both said, right? Tony and Rondale, I think they cancel each other out. So for me, it was worth taking Javonte over the 23 second and McBride here. And this is a best ball league too.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if you're looking at it, man, Javonte is the most valuable piece even with the injury right now, like between all these guys. Just because it's a running back position, man. He's young. We'll have to see how he recovers from it.
Right.
But I like your side a lot, especially with that. I mean, that second gets thrown in there. You're like, ooh, a second. Yeah, it's more like a third in a traditional league. So
yeah, being that it's a 2018 league, that's going to be pushing a third as long as you make the playoffs and do well, which your team's slated to do. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyway, that was that deal. Let us know what you think of that. That was a best ball 2018 league. We got our boy 7 goat rings, man, and I almost wanted to kick it off with him, but we always kick it off with one of our own. This is a banger here, Mike. So here's what we got. This is a 10-team Superflex PPR Start 11 league. So here's the crazy part. He is getting back his pick, which is projected for the 101 because he is in last place. Now he has control over it. So he's getting the 101 Javonte Williams and a 23-second from Gridiron Pros. He is sending Krogan for Kenneth Walker, who by some standards is the running back 1 in Dynasty. For you and I, it's not there, but a lot of people have him as the running back 1 in Dynasty today. And David Montgomery, who got a nice value bump with Khalil Herbert getting that injury. So what are your thoughts here? 10-team, that's the 101.
Pretty much, it wouldn't matter if it's 10-team or anything, right? If you're getting the 101 and locking up the 101, getting your pick back, I hate to break it to you, man, but like on a contender or going forward, like in the right now, I always take the time over what could happen with the pick. I will say this, though. Come next year, it doesn't really matter if it's Bijan or if it's Bryce Young or if it's Stroud. Whoever the hell the consensus 101 is, they're going to be drafted pretty fucking close to where Kenneth Walker is, barring an injury.
No question.
They're going to be right in the same range. So you can just look at these two, plop them off, and then you're looking at Javonte in a second for David Montgomery. I'll take that. I'll take that on a rebuild, man. Get the old plodding running back off my team.
Yep.
Let me get the guy that we just talked about. It's going to have a value ascension at some point, whether that's for you or a trade piece later.
Yep.
And then you get the second. I don't even know where the second is. It doesn't really fucking matter.
Right. I mean, well, so I guess let me ask you this. On the converse side, would you, if you're contending, give someone back his 101 to send away, you're going to send away 101 Javonte in a second to lock up Kenneth Walker for your title run and also get David Montgomery, who probably is a decent RB2 as well? Yes,
but this is where we talk about when you hold somebody's 101.
You got the leverage, right?
Yes.
So what you're saying is you would probably push for more on your side back if you were doing the Krogan side.
Yeah, just something better than Montgomery if he had it, or maybe a wide receiver or something else, another contending piece. Like I'm looking at it like I'm holding you hostage because you want Bijan back.
Right.
Like I'm okay. I do want Kenneth Walker because I want to score more points, right? I want to win the fantasy championship. And Monty's a fine enough piece. I always feel like you gotta do your best to make them overpay because in the long run, people will cave.
Right.
You and I have been in that situation where people hold our picks hostage and we send some deals that we wouldn't normally do, and we talk about them. They're still gross.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done, even for the most stingiest of dealers. And if they don't want to, then, tough shit.
Yep.
Tough shit. Like, I'm good.
I mean, I would say this, though. I would want to push for more as well. Either a better piece than Montgomery. Being that it's 10 teams, start 11, I don't know if I want to get into this throw-in range where it's really a roster clogger. Like, I'd rather him pay up something real. I think for someone having your pick hostage, this is as good as you're going to do. I know it's big, we're big Kenneth Walker guys. We were on him all offseason, but he's also someone that actually I'm willing to sell because at the right price. Let me just say that. I'm not just selling him to sell him, but if I can get peak Kenneth Walker value, I'm looking to do that because he doesn't really have much room for ascension anymore. He's already kind of peaked as far as dynasty value. So I like what 7 Goat Rings did, man. We got T-Rock. So this is a league we're in here. This is the shit auction. T-Rock was, really getting after it, sauced up. He blew all his money early, but with the shallow team, he's been a contender, actually. Cooper Kupp goes down, Mike, and he is left with trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to do, So here we go. We got two of the trades that he made. trying to kind of retool this thing for the playoff push because you got to go up against the big McNutted. He gets first. Let's start with the Cooper Kupp side, right? So he's looking to move Cooper Kupp, and right now, if you have Cooper Kupp, you know how horrible it is to try to move this guy. Mm-hmm. He's 30. Nobody wants him for anywhere near what you're in your mind thinking the price was. This one here, though, is, I would say, pretty surprising. I like Pollard as a contender, but, man, Slayton and Michael Carter for Cooper Kupp in a second, Mike, albeit in 24. I like that for Mr. Shy Guy. Now, I'll say this. I mean, yes. You're kind of in the situation in best ball where, like, you're handicapped to your league. I mean, nobody was letting T-Rock get out of this thing. Right? Nobody was giving him anything. No. So this is one of those where I don't like it for him, but I don't know this. I don't know that a deal existed better than this at the same time.
This is a classic case of know your league. A lot of sharp people in here, a lot of patrons, a lot of people who listen to us. You and I are in this league. And then, he's got a co-manager in this league. And, T-Rock is T-Rock at times. And, you start talking shit earlier in the season about how great you are and how we don't know nothing, and then your studs and duds, your studs start to go down, and you're just left with duds. Nobody's really inclined to do you any favors. So I guess you got to take what you got to get. I don't like it. This is odd. I just don't like it, especially because somehow Mr. Shy Guy just finessed his 24 second out of him. Like, not only is he going to be worse, his team is worse this year. It's set up to be even more crusty and gross in 2024.
I'm with you. I think that's where I actually think in best ball, as bad as it looks, Pollard, Slayton, and Michael Carter, like, I think you might have to take that in best ball. You're getting 3 pieces. My thing is, I'm not adding the other best piece of the deal potentially in the 24 second. Like, I'll go down to Pollard because I don't have any other pivot options. You throw me in Michael Carter and Slayton. But you want my 24 second, man. Come on. That's where it gets greasy. The other deal up top, Mike, I'm much more of a fan of on a contender. Yes. This is me coming a long way in growth because I'm not a Jamal Williams guy, haven't been. But the way he's being utilized in that offense for Justice Hill and Daniel Bellinger, I mean, sign me up for that top deal all day long.
I like Bellinger too, but
I do. Yep, I do too.
It's still a rookie tight end. He's going to have some moments. He's going to have some down games. Like, the future looks good for him. At least it's a positive arrow up. But Jamal Williams is smashing as far as best ball's concerned. Yep. As far as lineup's concerned, he's just smashing. Exceeding all expectations, and Justice Hill is a fucking nothing. Zero negative roster clogger. So the fact that you could trick somebody into taking him is actually kind of like, we're Justice Hill away from making this deal.
Okay. I mean, you can have my Justice Hill. I think this is a Bellinger for Jamal Williams. If you have Jamal Williams, I would hope you'd be able to get more than Bellinger. But I'm with you. I actually like Bellinger. I think he could be a decent long-term play. But as a contender, I'd happily move off of Bellinger for Jamal Williams, who's giving you points today. So, T-Rock, we'll give you an A and an F. Nice job, buddy.
A and an F. I love
it. Zach here. We got a 12-team. I like he always puts the text on here. Lets us know what's going on. We got a 12-team best ball Superflex half PPR. It's a 2 tight end league, Mike. That does shift a lot of things. He's rebuilding. He's shedding points for the 102. He says here. So he is getting Shakir, Keontae Ingram, a 23 second, which is mid to late, and he's sending away Rondale Moore. Mike, your thoughts on this deal here?
No. 1000% no. Rondale Moore, we've seen moments. We just talked about it. I don't know what he's going to be, but I like what I've seen. And I would much rather have Rondale Moore than to move up one spot. If you look at the 23 draft class you do when you're projecting, your first 4 or 5 picks are all going to be about the same.
The only thing is
Bijan's going to be in a different tier, but the other guys are all going to be about the same, man.
Yeah, the only thing would be in the first 2 to 3, maybe 4 picks, depending on what happens. You're looking at quarterbacks, which mean a bunch versus the skill players. But the first 5, 6 picks, when you're talking just regardless of quarterback, those guys are all going to be going very highly. So
I want to shed to get to the 101 because I think that's going to be a tier break, and it's the 101. People are willing to pay more for it. But
yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you, man. A lot of times when I can only get down to the 103, I actually feel really good about having that pick because it puts the pressure on the person in front of me to not fuck up. So
Yeah.
I can just capitalize. Like if I got a guy who's number 2 on my board, 50% of the time it almost feels like they take somebody else or some wild card, and you're like, holy shit, I didn't think I was going to get this guy. Like I thought he was definitely going at 2. Well, great.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do shit for it.
Yeah.
I'm not in a best ball league, especially too, man. A guy like Rondale, nah, I'm good, man. Like
I think for
you
me,
can keep this package of junk.
I get where you're coming from here. And I think for me, it depends. Like, he's shedding points for 102. Is it a jumbled mess? Are we talking like 105 possibly to get to the 102? And is Rondale really going to get you down 3 picks from that? If it's just the 102 and the 103, really, you're talking about, I don't really like it as much. I'll say this, though. When you look at the values of this, and I'm reading this, team is competing for the final playoff spot. Like, if there's a chance this team misses the playoffs, like, I still want Rondale over a 204, 205. But I'll tell you that the 204, 205 is probably not going to go that much further behind Rondale than in a startup, right? So that,
depending on what he does for the rest of the year, yeah.
Correct. We he's got the hamstring. I mean, he's come on this year. He's someone that's really took a nice value bump. See, here's the thing. I'm good doing this if it was different. Like Keontae Ingram and Shakir for me don't like. I'm about getting extra options in best ball, but these guys don't really do anything for me.
And now you're taking on 2 more players too that both have the opportunity just to have like one spike week. Like Keontae Ingram falls in the end zone twice one week and all of a sudden scores more points than Rondale, and you're still not really shedding the points like you want. I don't get it. I mean, that's why I don't like it as a whole.
Yeah, I think typically I'd want Rondale here. I understand what he's trying to do. I think though, I would have tried to get either something back on my side better, because here's the thing, right? Like Ingram and Shakir, like if they're different players, like I don't know, even if it's like a Foreman or something, like you can now flip that person again. No one's going to buy Ingram and Shakir, so they're going to basically sit on your bench and possibly have a spike week, and they're not going to really accrue any value. You're not going to be able to do much with it. Yeah. So this, when I think about all that, it's basically the mid 23 third. Or mid 23 second for Rondale Moore. Even if I'm rebuilding, man, I want Rondale Moore. So I'd say this: for this to work out, you're going to need that person to probably miss the playoffs, and you better lock up the 102 and figure out a way to make that value work. So I think on the surface right now today, maybe this is a 4D chess move you're trying to do, but I don't think on the surface today you won this deal.
Fair enough.
All right, we got our boy Blitz here. Lineup start 10-team PPR Superflex, Mike. He's receiving Cooper Kupp. Interesting. We got Javonte or Cooper Kupp fighting for the thumbnail right now. You know, the injured, awesome guys. Cooper Kupp 23 third, mid to late for Nuke Hopkins, 23 third early, and Nico Collins. This is once again, Mike, is a lineup start 10.
We kind of had this discussion in the Discord about it. Shout out to us, patreon.com/South Harmon. Get in. We have a lot of good discussions. But where Cooper Kupp and DeAndre Hopkins is, and Adam, I think they're probably almost identical. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is a little bit older, has a little bit more taint on him, like just stink that people just don't seem to like, but he's producing.
It's to me, it's seeming to get like I kind of understood with the suspension because of the taking the drugs to try to help himself get better, and then obviously being injured, it's like, okay, maybe he's cliffing. But now he's come back and he's smashing, and his value really isn't changing much, which is the wild part to me.
No, like he's in that dead zone of wide receivers where people are just petrified to have him. Cooper Kupp's about to be there.
Yep.
It's just so relatively early off of him coming off of what he did last year and what he was doing this year that people haven't adjusted. But in reality, man, anytime I could trade my injured Cooper Kupp on a contender and get DeAndre Hopkins, like I want to do that. Like that's a move I want to actively make. If the price to do it is I move back in the 3rd round and I give up a guy like Nico Collins, you did say it's a start 10, which I'm probably never starting this dude. I'm good. Like I'll do this, man.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. When I look at this, right, I'm thinking about it from both sides for a second. If I have Cooper Kupp, anywhere I have Cooper Kupp rostered, I would be a contender, and he's helping me be an elite contender, right? So when you lose him, that's killing you. I can pivot to DeAndre Hopkins, who's been a warp winner since he's been playing, Mike. He's in the top 5 points per game at the position since being back from this injury.
Mm-hmm.
I get to pivot to DeAndre Hopkins on a contender. I'm doing that. I mean, I think I haven't been able to find that deal with my Cooper Kupp tradeaways. I still have shares that I can't get rid of because nobody fucking willing to give me that. They're trying to give me Pollard or somebody. I'm taking Nuke here. And then what's crazy when I look at it, Mike, he's actually getting the up tier in the pick, and he's getting Nico Collins. Now, Nico Collins in a 10-team, start 10, more of a roster clogger, but it's just a depth piece. Like, I think for me, Blitz, I know what you're doing. You're saying that Nuke's value's toast, and you're trying to take the Cooper Kupp rebound in value, whether you're going to hold him or trade him in the summer. So I totally get it, but I do think from the other side, that's actually pretty damn good to get off of Cooper Kupp. You get to replace his points with Nuke. You get a little bit of an up tier in the pick, and you get the Dart and Nico. I mean,
yeah,
I like it for both sides, if I'm being real.
If you were to take it, like I was talking about, and just flip it to the other side, like you get Cooper Kupp, Nico in the early third. You send away mid to late third,
right?
And DeAndre Hopkins. Like, I understand more what you're doing here. I think I don't necessarily hate it for him. Like, I understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's also going to play the market dynamics.
Exactly.
Like, Cooper Kupp is going to be a name for a bit. Like, DeAndre Hopkins played shitty at times last year and looked horrible, then got injured, then got suspended, and that's how we got to where we are now.
Correct.
Cooper Kupp smashed last year, smashed this year, has an injury, not suspended, gonna go into next year. Yes, there's gonna be problems or concerns with the Rams offense, maybe no McVay, maybe no Stafford, whatever the case may be. People are still gonna look at it and go, it's Cooper Kupp, fucking Kupp, and he's healthy. Let's go. So he's still going to carry more value, and he's going to have more value than whatever the fuck DeAndre Hopkins does for the rest of the year. So I understand that part. I just like the little dynamics of the trade like that. You know, when somebody's in a bind, kind of like we're talking about leveraging somebody's 101, you know the contender wants to get off Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Like, you know it. So you got to hold their feet to the fire the same way that T-Rock got bent over that deal, right? Like, you know it. You can't let him out early. So I'm definitely not sending the Nico Collins in the early third part. Like, like, we're going to flip this, man. We're going to flip this. I need something back, a little bit extra to make me feel good about this. So just my personal opinion on that one.
I get that. And honestly, I think that's the other thing is you highlighted it. I think that's the big difference. DeAndre Hopkins not only had the injury and then, was taking the PEDs, but we saw him not playing well on the field, right? Cooper Kupp's the opposite. He was smashing in an impossible situation. Like, there's going to be this, I mean, for a 30-year-old receiver, I just can tell you, he's one of the only ones that's going to have an allure around his name, even coming off this injury. It's Cooper fucking Kupp. It's Matthew Berry's Cooper, little Cooper Kupp, man. It's what it's going to be. So I think what you're really doing here in a start 10, in the 10 team is you're knowing you're giving up those extra pieces, and playing the value ascension of Cooper Kupp come summer, especially when the season starts next year. So those pieces are kind of more expendable, but I'm with you on more of the just principles of, like, if I'm going to let you get away with this on a contender, I want the little bit of an extra piece, even though these pieces may not matter all that much in start 10.
There you go.
All right, so we got Dylan in here. We have a trade, Mike. Amari Cooper and Chris Godwin. It's kind of a big boy deal here. We got Amari Cooper and Chris Godwin for George Pickens, a 23 first and a 24 second. I know they were talking about this trade quite a bit in the Discord. I didn't have any specifics of it in there, so I don't know if you recall any of the specifics of the deal here.
No.
So I guess we'll just have to talk about this from all the different lenses because we don't have the true specifics of the deal right now.
It's true. If I'm on the rebuilding side, like say I'm D. Goodman, 33 right now, I get it, man. Amari Cooper, we're going to talk about him on 4D. We've talked about him in the Discord. We've talked about him on recap shows and AMAs. He's a good buy for a contender.
Yep.
On a rebuilder, I mean, it's still a getting older wide receiver that bad things can happen, and all of a sudden he just goes in the toilet. So
see the last deal we had, right? And that's a receiver much further north.
Yes, I want to get off that guy. So if I can get GP straight up, sign me up, man. Chris Godwin, we talked trash about him earlier in the season. and then he kind of had a nice rebound. And it wasn't because of the talent or anything, just advanced in age a little bit. Not crazy old, not at the cliff yet. But that knee injury, very serious. What the situation's like in 2023 looking forward without Tom Brady. What's that offense look like? Who's throwing him the football? Does he go into purgatory? Again, another guy on a rebuilder I want to get off. First and a second, just generically, I don't know where they are. I'm probably taking that, man. So, like, I feel good about the GP for Cooper part. I feel good about the first and second. On the flip side, if I'm a contender, I like GP, man. But I want to buy into this Amari Cooper thing for this title run. Like, I want the cheddar, I want the cash.
Yes.
And then I get another good receiver in Chris Godwin. Now, I think me paying a first and a second is a little too much. But like I said, I don't know where those picks are. So if this is like, hey, man, this 24 seconds mine, my team's going to be good for the next couple of years. I know this is going to be late, and I don't know where that other one is. If that's on the mid to later side, because I got somebody else's pick.
Right.
Shit, you can have it. Well, I want this cash, baby. I want to – if it's a lineup league, if it's a best ball league, it doesn't really matter because both of those guys are guys that you would start in those leagues. Like, those guys will make your lineup in a best ball, and you're going to plug them into a lineup league. Like, start 9, start 10, start 15, start 70. Doesn't matter. They're playing.
Start 7, man. Yeah.
Let's go.
I think so similar to last deal, it's funny how we're talking through these deals and some of the dynamics are making me want to talk about things here. Basically, when I look at this, right, whether it's Godwin or Cooper, 1-for-1 for Pickens, I would basically be willing to do that on either side, right? If I'm a contender, I'll take the older guys that are more consistent. I know Pickens is starting to become the alpha in that offense. I love him long term, but on a contender, that offense isn't great. We've had not very consistent weeks from Pickens. And if I can get Amari Cooper, I know you're foregoing a lot of age. But when this guy who's already playing out of his mind with Jacoby Brissett gets Watson back in the playoff run, I love that. Godwin, although that offense is not what it's been in the past, he's been as consistent as it gets there. So I think about this one. Then if I say the other pieces for the 23 first, I think that's where I'm like, all right, that's good, right? 23 first for one of those pieces, I'm good. The second now probably becomes where I have more hesitation. But I'll say this, when you go to, this is where the difference is, right? Like in Blitz's last deal, or when you're on the rebuild side and the other person's contending. They need this deal more than you do because they want to win right now, right? Yes. Especially because Godwin's in the deal. Like, I'm not itching to move Godwin on a rebuilder. I'll happily do it, but I'm not itching to move him on a rebuilder, you know? Cooper, I'm probably wanting to get off of more so. So when you're going to do this, like if I'm a contender, sometimes you got to throw that extra second in, even if you don't want to. You got a generic basically second out there in 24. All right, that's what I got to add to the deal to go get myself a title. Let's fucking do it, right? Wheels up. That's why I think this one makes a lot more sense on the surface because typically the market and the dynamics, I think, should lean that way versus the other way around.
It's all about the leverage, man. You got to know when you have it, you got to use it. Can't let it slip.
Yep. So, I mean, listen, and doesn't mean if you don't play that leverage, it can't still work out for you. It's just that's the kind of the song and dance that's happening right now. People are gearing up for the playoffs, man, and you don't care about scoring points in the playoffs.
This is exactly what fantasy football and Dynasty especially is all about finding those little tiny edges, right? Mm-hmm. Just little things in the margins that Scott always talks about. And this is one of them. When you got the leverage, you have to use it to find those little edges in the margin just to make that deal that much better.
Yep. And I mean, I'll say this too. Both those pieces, Amari Cooper and Godwin, they can, if you have your team constructed pretty good and you can add Cooper and Godwin to that team, that can win you a title. So I'm all aboard that side too. All right, so we got a big boy deal here, man. Kilmo is getting, Jalen Hurts and Travis Kelce for a 23 first, his own 23 first, and his own 24 first. The fact that they're blacked out makes me think that they're the same here. So a guy's getting his 23 first pick back. He's getting Bateman, and he's getting Kilmo's 23 and 24 first. You're getting Hurts and Kelce, so I'm imagining those are late here, Mike. I'll let you start it off, but I think we're going to have the same thoughts here. This is just so you know, this is 12-team Superflex, 1.5 point tight end premium contender.
Are we going to find anybody but whoever's blacked out that likes this trade for the other side?
This is why this is the one. Let me just say what you need to know about this trade before we even break anything down. This is the only deal on here that I've seen that has the blacked out name, and it's because they had to do it for this manager. Because you do not want to be on that other side, man. You don't want your name going around. Because, Mike, okay, Jalen Hurts right now, lineup best ball doesn't. It's probably more in lineup start 9, right? But I mean, 3 first, 2.5, 2 first and a second, like minimum, right?
The only way it makes sense is if that 23 first is this dude's pick back, and he's the
it's what
101.
I think that's what it seems like, because you're talking the blacked out names twice here. Like, I don't know that you need to block out the pick name. So I'm actually operating under the impression that is at least an early 23 first that he's getting his own pick back. So
I know that 23 first and that 24 first are bound to be late. And
correct.
If let me take the Travis Kelce part.
Yep.
Ridiculously high warp. I think just about any format you look at, Travis Kelce might be leading the entire league in warp. That's how good he's been.
Of course.
Been ridiculous. Bateman, we have concerns about Bateman. I absolutely love Shoddy B, but I have some fucking concerns about him.
I have big concerns,
feel
man.
Good. Yes.
Going into year 3, man, big concerns.
If I take any one of those first that doesn't have the blacked out name and put Shoddy B to it to go get a guy on a contender like Travis Kelce, the top warp option, I'm doing it. Not even thinking about it.
Right.
I probably don't want to pay 2 first for it because I just feel like, man, I'm paying for an old tight end. Like, he could cliff at any time. I'm trying to push that leverage. Like, nah, man, I ain't doing it. I know you want to get off of him, right? I'm trying to leverage it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the Jalen Hurts part, man, and you're looking at Jalen Hurts for 2 first. Maybe if that's a 23-101, I can get it.
For the sake of argument, let's say it was. Let's even say it was. Or top 3 projected, something like that.
If it was, this isn't as bad of a deal as it initially is. But if it's not, Adam, this is fucking horrendous. It's horrendous.
I mean, of course, yeah. If that pick is a mid to late first, the one that's blacked out, I mean, this is...
Yikes.
I'll say, Mike, honestly, for me, even if it is an early one, I think it's still not good. Like, because here's my thing, right? Format irrelevant for me with Bateman. Like, I'll take him on a rebuilder, right? I'll take him as throw-ins. I'll take him as a piece. I'm already exposed, and I'm not feeling very good about it. So I'm reluctant to take him, but I will do it. Here's the thing about it, right? Travis Kelce, for me, he is one of these players that you get to in Dynasty, where Travis Kelce now is he's always going to be worth more in production than he ever will be worth in a trade. Because of his age, his production will always outweigh whatever you get in a trade for him.
Yes.
And I don't see many Travis Kelce deals, Mike. And in the leagues I'm in the trade show, this might be one of the first ones that I can really remember. So the point is, this is why when you see Travis Kelce in a deal, you don't get top dollar for him for whatever reason. People aren't willing to pay it out because of the age. He's smashing and winning you championships because of his warp. I think he's worth at minimum a late. Like, I would still take Travis Kelce over the 23 late first, to be completely honest with you. Would you?
He has been smashing so hard. The reason you probably don't see deals with it is because teams are winning.
Right.
There's no reason. There's no reason.
You could have. You're
He's carrying this fucking thing.
Unless you dumpster fired it, Travis Kelce's probably helping those teams get some wins.
For sure.
So you got. I don't know. For me, the way I look at this is, I want Travis Kelce over even Bateman in the first. But you could probably sell somebody that's what the deal's worth. I think.
Yes.
Travis Kelce to me is too valuable. But then, Mike, like, even if it's an early 23 first, like, I still think Hurts goes ahead of that pick in the startups next year.
Oh, for sure. Even if it is Bijan and he's everything that we thought and he gets a prime landing spot, it's Superflex leagues, man. You look at it the way Jalen Hurts is playing, the weapons around him, and what he's done so far this year. Like, he has elevated himself into top 5 startup territory. A rookie running back is not going to do that.
He's Bam territory, Mike, now. Honestly, he really is. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks, which that alone, best ball lineup, we've already debunked in best ball as much as you want a down tier. Those type of quarterbacks still carry a shit ton of weight. So regardless of best ball or lineup here, Mike, to me, the early first is still not enough for Hurts. And if you know it's a late 24 first, like, I still don't think that gets it done. So, like, even if we're saying it's an early first, I want Kilmo side, and I think he did a great job. If that pick is not a top 3 pick, I mean, holy hell, this is highway robbery, and I can see why the trade's pending because they don't want this shit to go through. I mean, hell, man, fuck. That is Kilmo.
A good side.
That is that's a wild one. All right, so here we go, man. We got our boy Dynasty Alex. He got a deal done while we were doing the Start Sit Show, or
let's go.
A lot of people know it as the Start Shit Show. Anyway, we're doing that. So he left the screen capture in there, but this is a best ball failed contender. He is getting Jahan Dotson in the 23 third. I think that's supposed to be an early one for. Oh no, not necessarily because he's getting Pollard back, so that's probably contending. So it's probably mid to late third and Jahan Dotson for Pollard, and this is on a best ball failed contender. Where you at?
I like it. We talked about it a little bit. I mean, Tony Pollard smashing, but you still always have those concerns, man. And he's, again, we've been waiting for it, it seems like, for 15 years at this point. And you're just starting to finally see it.
Right.
And it's probably going to be a little bit too late for him to ever carry dynasty value because now where he's in the territory where you're just like, shit, he's an old running back. Get him out of here.
Well, that's the problem is, like you said, now it's not actually been that long, but it feels like it's been forever. We're like, okay, Pollard's going to take over. Take over, but we know that Zeke has the contract, so you can't. But the problem is, right, he's now he's 25. By the time the season starts next year, he's 26. We know what running backs at 26 have in value. Mike, and those are high draft capital contracts, guys that are very good. Not saying Pollard isn't, but he doesn't have that certainty, right? Like, rebuilding, I think it's a tough one because I want to move Pollard, and he's smashing so hard right now, you're probably not going to get what you are wanting in production. But, man, you give me Jahan Dotson in the third. I like what he's doing here. You're getting points off your roster. You're grabbing Jahan Dotson, who's suppressed because of the injury, and you're getting the average, the little throw-in third there. You can probably use as a grease piece or whatever later, or you could sit there and try to draft, depending on what you want to do. I think it's a good pivot. I really do.
I like it, man. Get the points off my team, too.
Yep.
See ya.
All right. We got Koopa Troopa. So here we go, Mike. This is a start 9 lineup Superflex. He basically said here, this is a complete colossal rebuilder. He just took over this orphan. So he is basically feet to the fire, has to do all kinds of bending over to try to just get plethora of pieces. But it's a start 9 lineup Superflex, big rebuild orphan. He's getting Kenny Pickett, a 23 first and 24 second from this player who's getting Tua. He doesn't say where that guy is, but I'm going to imagine this is a deal that helps that person get better. So you're probably looking at more like mid picks here. I'm going to tell you this much, man. Start 9, I'm not doing that. Best ball, you might be able to sell me more. Even then, I don't think I would do it because I think Tua's proving that he's a top 10, top 12 quarterback. I like Pickett, man. You and I both like Pickett, but to an extent, we like Pickett. Like,
right.
It's like you, even as much as we've talked good about Pickett, just yesterday on the AMA, you took him at 104. If you redid the 22 class, there's still concern. There's still uncertainty around him, right? Like, the Steelers stink. He's been good at times, but bad at times. He's been extremely inconsistent. He's got first-round draft capital, albeit later first-round draft capital. Tua has draft capital. He's been through ups and downs. They are committed to him. They've surrounded him with talent, and he's smashing. See, I know in an orphan it sucks because you have to you probably take over this roster and you're like, fuck, what do I do? This is just gross. I have so much cleanup to do. But Tua is not one of the guys I want to sell for this package in a start 9.
Nah. Let's kick it old school, man. Let's talk startup values.
Let's do it.
For him, a rebuilder.
Yep.
So I can't put a value on the 24 second at this point because it's 2 years out. But I can put a value about 23 first. And if it's going to be mid to late, I have a good idea of where that's going to end up in startups.
Can we call that 24 second, just for the sake of argument, a 10th to 12th? Because that's what a normal second would be.
That's being generous.
I'm trying to be generous for the sake of argument here. Yeah.
That's fair. Kenny Pickett's probably going to end up, like, best case scenario, 5th round, late part of the 5th round. More than likely, he's going to be a 6th or 7th round starter.
I was going to say, speaking of generous, I think drafts you and I do, some shitheads do, he might go more 5th, but I bet you generically he's going to be more like a 6th, 7th, like you said.
Just call him a 6th. Call that 23 first, somewhere in the 7th on the mid to late part. Okay. So a 6 and a 7 at him, and a 10th. I'll be
Let's
generous.
give him a 10th, yeah.
6, 7, and 10th. You know where Tua is going to end up? It's going to be the late part of the first round, or it's going to be the early part of the second round.
He's going to be I bet you he's going to be a second-round pick more often than not, right?
I bet you he might even be higher because the
I'm not
quarterback
saying,
landscape is such a dumpster fire of shit.
I'm not saying he won't go in the first in some drafts. I'm with you.
But we just say second round.
Right.
Second round, man.
Right.
In a startup, would you ever trade your second-round startup pick, your mid to early second-round startup pick, for a 6, a 7, and a 10, other than best ball?
That's okay. There we go. If it's a best ball league, I actually may make that pivot as long as I'm not getting a quarterback. See, that's the other problem. Even if I just went startup generic values, right? I could see it in best ball. But then here's the problem. I'm like, okay, I'm on the clock and I can take Tua. Yeah, I think I'll probably hold here. I'll probably take Tua, even in best ball.
I want to divest. I want to de-risk myself from injury.
Mm-hmm.
Not like this, though, man. I don't want to get this crusty.
I mean, I guess here's what I can say. If this player, Tenacious Teabagger, nice. If Tenacious Teabagger, his team, if Koopa Troop was actually teabagging this guy, and this is a early pick, like he's getting off Pickett, he's getting off his picks, and this guy's team's not that good, and these are early.
There you go.
That's where I could see the scenario. That's it. If it's not that way, like if these aren't top 3-4 picks, I'm good. I'll just roll with Tua, especially in start 9. I think, Mike, knowing how start 9 dynamics are in lineup, man, quarterbacks cost an arm and a leg. So yes. I know that in an orphan it sucks, but I think I'd rather do something different here.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got the last deal of the day. We got a newer patron here. We got this one's interesting, Mike. So we got. I guess I should have done a picture for this guy too here. But so here we go. We got 16 team. We got a start 11 on offense and defense. So really 22 guys are playing. This is a rebuild that he is planning to contend in 2023. So he is Inspector. He's trading away Damian Harris, John Franklin Myers, and Jeremy Ruckert. He's getting back Khalil Herbert and TJ Edwards. So basically you're looking at here, in my mind, like I don't know enough about the defensive values to tell you the truth. But I can tell you that to me this looks like Khalil Herbert for Damian Harris, straight up pretty much on the offensive side.
On the defensive side too, man, I'm going to give a little bit of credence to TJ Edwards playing the linebacker position. Generally, you can talk to Zach about it. I'm not good. Featured on the trade show a lot in our Discord. If you have IDP questions, much better than Adam and I ever are. But
may have to get Jordan back on our show here for this one. You know.
There you go, man. Yeah, I would say this for most leagues. From what I know, linebackers carry more of the value. It depends on your scoring and everything else kind of comes into play. But you think about it, linebackers making all the tackles, that kind of thing. But if you just kind of take away and strip away and we don't talk about the IDP stuff, it's Khalil Herbert for Damian Harris because Jeremy Ruckert's just kind of a nothing.
Whatever, yeah.
10,000%, man. I dunk on Khalil Herbert all the time. I do it to the dismay of Zach, and he's now on IR. But I will take the shot on Khalil Herbert having
over
a lead dog over Damian Harris. Now, that's not to say he can't. It's just I like Khalil Herbert a little more in this situation, and why not set yourself up better for 2023?
Well, I think there's two big things about that, right? Damian Harris is now kind of, in my mind, being pushed out of what he was by Ramondre Stevenson, who's playing really well, right? Mm-hmm. On top of that, you have on the flip side for Khalil Herbert, granted he's hurt, right? And David Montgomery's going to get the workload, but there's no contract tied to him. They're in kind of a rebuild. He could be gone for all we know next year. I mean, I think there's a realistic scenario he's gone. So Khalil Herbert could come in if they don't decide to invest in the running back position as the lead back in that offense with Justin Fields running around. Damian Harris, if Ramondre doesn't get hurt and he continues to be the lead back, what is Damian Harris going to be? Like I actually think this is a very good move for you, especially knowing that you're trying to go for it next year. You don't care about Damian Harris. I like this move a lot.
So this is one of the perks, too, of playing in all 22 leagues with, defensive players. Like I'm starting to get more accustomed to names and following. Both carry very similar grades, these IDP players.
Okay.
John Franklin Myers and TJ Edwards. Like I said, one of them plays an edge rusher. I don't know what the scoring is like, but generally I would just say this. Linebackers usually get more points just because they're in, linebackers going to have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tackle games just
Right.
at will sometimes. So depending on how many points you're getting for tackles, that kind of stuff, I usually just give the credence to the linebacker. That's kind of why you see those guys go first.
I mean, in the way I look at it too is I'm with you. I think the linebacker carries more weight, and then these guys are both 26. It's I'd give me TJ Edwards. I mean, personally, and that's not even I'm not even a guy that really knows a lot about IDP, but I'll take TJ Edwards for sure on this one.
For sure.
And if Jeremy Ruckert's what it costs for me to go do that, here you go. You can have it. 16 team. Forgo it. I don't really care about Jeremy Ruckert even in 16 team. So
look at us trying to break down IDP deals. He put it in, was like, you guys will break this down. Surprise. We got you.
Surprise. Yeah. This, just like the channel's growing, we're trying to grow. We're not nowhere near IDP savants or people that you need to, pay any homage to on the IDP stuff. But we're trying to break it down. You give us the trades, we will break it down for you. So, yeah, man, Inspector, nice deal there to end the show. A new patron getting a new deal in here. Let us know what you think of the trades, man. Let us know what you thought of the deals this week. We had some people not do that well in our minds, but we've had a lot of our shitheads did pretty well on these trades, obviously, unless it's T-Rock with Cooper Kupp. T-Rock seems to come on here and give us bad trades all the time, but we still love him anyway. He bought CH for a first earlier in the year. Listen, T-Rock's going to do what he's going to do, but I do like that Jamal Williams trade for him as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the shit auction against Big Mike here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got to make the playoffs first. Riding the struggle bus in that league too.
You're teetering. I think you'll still get in though. You're right there.
Yeah, that's all right. All the other patron leagues, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have a which league is that? The auction redux. We're gonna have you lost Cup, but we should have a pretty wild one in the playoffs. You and I, we got some pretty crazy teams in that one.
We got a colossal showdown coming, I think.
I do too. Yep.
Let's go. But that's going to do it for us. We'll be back same time, same place next week. As always, though, if you want these trades featured on here, you know what to do. Patreon.com/South Harmon. Come sign up. Not only can you put trades on here, we'll feature them on here and talk about you glowingly. And if you want to black out your league mates' names so they don't get embarrassed and never trade with you again, perfectly fine. But if you're also one of those guys that wants to blast them and put them on blast, embarrass them and put it in the league chat, like, man, look what Mike and Adam said about you. Go ahead.
Listen, you throw us the lob, we'll put it on the show, we'll dunk all over them for you, and then when it's all said and done, you come and get them to subscribe to the channel too, so they can learn more about Dynasty, so they don't keep getting dunked on. But yeah, if you want your deals featured, like Inspector was, like so many people have been week in and week out here, we always bring it to you Saturday morning here on the premiere. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll be back here same time, same place. If you want your deal featured, patreon.com/South Harmon. Otherwise, we will see you back here next week. We're out of this thing. Peace.